Hi everybody, I am back with another review, and today I'm going to be reviewing this beautiful teal closed front cincher made by the Bad Button. So here is the front, the side, the back, and the other side. Once again, this is another one of Alicia's one-off samples from her Etsy store. So if you were to commission her to do something very similar to this, then obviously it would be made to your measurements. So the measurements of this particular piece, actually, it doesn't really matter all that much since yours would be different. It would be made to fit you. But for anybody who's curious, the center front here is about 11.5 inches. And from the underbust to the lap, the shortest area is about 9 inches. I would consider this a hourglass silhouette. It's a little bit conical throughout the rib cage, but I find it to be very comfortable. And even though this is a size larger than I usually get, I think this is about 25 or 26 in the waist, I think that it still gives a very nice figure. And this is one of Alicia's strong points, being able to pattern and giving you a beautiful silhouette even though you're not reducing down very much. So here's the corset laying flat, and I hope you can see all the sparkles coming off of this. It's a bit of an overcast day, but I hope it's coming out on camera. There's sequins and beads all over this, but I'll go into a little bit more detail about that later. For now, for the materials of this, I believe it's 3 layers. Actually, it might be 4 layers. I know for sure there are 4 layers in certain areas of this corset. The fashion fabric is this beautiful medium to heavyweight teal satin, and it has been fused for strength to prevent wrinkling on the body. Alicia also says that she always uses herringbone couture for her custom commissions as a strength layer, and then on the inside for the lining, I'll flip it inside out so I can show you. And here you can see I've opened the laces and flipped the corset inside out so I can show you the lining on the inside. Now, I would not consider this corset to be reversible, but the lining is absolutely beautiful. I think it's perfect for autumn. The lining here is made from a thin cotton, lightweight cotton, and it is a floating liner, so it's not attached to the other layers except for at the back and of course with the binding. And here's a close-up of the label for the Bad Button bespoke corsets, and there's a little button there. For the construction of this corset, it is an 11-panel corset because it has a closed front and it's a double width in the front there. If this were a corset that had a busk in the front, then it would be a 6-panel pattern, so 12 panels total. But in this case, it's 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is the center front, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. For the actual assembly of this, I was talking to the owner of the Bad Button, Alicia, and she says that this was a bit of an experimental corset, which is why it was a one-off sample, just to see how she liked this construction method. This seems to be constructed using the sandwich method, and so it's not top stitched on the seams, it seems to be lock stitched, and it's also double boned on each seam. There are also a few bones in the center of the panel, but I'll go into more detail about that later when I talk about the bones. And like I had mentioned before, the lining in here is actually a floating liner. I actually do feel the waist tape through the lining of the corset here. It's sandwiched between the layers, so it's invisibly secured, and it is running right through all the layers. So you can see actually a faint outline of the waist tape right there. It's maybe about 3/4 of an inch wide. The binding here is made from bias strips of matching satin, and I just realized that the teal is not coming out the right color on camera. It's actually a little bit more green, but it's a really beautiful jewel tone. But anyways, it's made from bias strips, and it's machine stitched for the first seam, and then on the inside it is hand finished with an invisible stitch, so it's really nice and smooth and neat on the inside. And another one of the strong points of the Bad Button is how nicely she finishes the binding, even at the corners here. They're always like a perfect right angle, and they match up almost perfectly here to the millimeter. Very, very neat and very meticulous. In this particular sample, there is no Modesty panel at the back, but if you were commissioning a custom corset and you requested a Modesty panel, I don't think it would be a huge deal to get one. Obviously, this corset has a closed front, so it doesn't have a Modesty placket. It doesn't need one because, as you can see, there is no busk. So instead of the busk, there is actually what I call magic bones, because you don't see the seams for the boning channels on the outside or on the inside, which is why I'm guessing that there must be multiple layers in here. This is one of Alicia's sort of trade secrets and one of her more recognizable features about her particular corsets. So there are 4 1/4-inch wide flat steel bones in the center front here that you cannot see, but it keeps the tummy very flat and it doesn't detract from the other embellishment on this corset. Let's focus on the embellishment a little bit. So on this particular corset, there is this beautiful corded style lace with also lots of long beads and these tiny little seed beads and sequins to add some sparkle. It goes around the entire top edge of this corset, and there's also some applique along the hips here to accentuate the curve of the hip. And additionally, you can see that there is some hand flossing here at the bottom, holding the bones in place. So there seems to be quite a lot going on in this corset, but it all goes together really beautifully and it doesn't overwhelm the corset. This corset is actually rather heavily boned. It has 30 bones total in this corset, so 15 on each side. Like I had mentioned before, there are 4 1/4-inch wide flat steel bones in the center front here, magically inserted, and on the seams here, it's double boned on the seams. So you can see 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. In the middle of this panel here, there is that one singular one because the panel itself is a little bit wider than the others. So just to help support it a little bit better, Alicia says that it's a mix of spiral and flat steel bones in this corset. I can feel the ones that are flat steel bones because they are just a little bit more stiff, but around the curves here, it's spiral steel bone. And additionally, on the back here, you can see that there are 2 more flat steel bones sandwiching the grommets on each side. So here's a close-up of the grommets at the back. There are 22 2-part size 00 grommets, and these are flawless. None of them really look crushed. None of them are fraying or pulling out in any way. Very securely set here. Here's a close-up of the back of the grommets, and you can see they have all rolled really nicely. There's only just a couple of splits here and there. They don't catch on the laces though, so I'm not worried about them. And I really like how they're black, so it kind of goes with the rest of the color scheme of this corset. Like I said before, Alicia uses both the hammer and the press to set these grommets, so it's actually a double setting process to make sure that it holds in really well. And the laces used in this corset are 1/2-inch wide, double-faced black satin ribbon. Very, very, very long. You need it to be long to be able to pull the corset over your head, since obviously it has a closed front here. It glides well through the laces. It's obviously strong enough, so I have no problem with these. I spoke with Alicia, the owner of the Bad Button, and she says that if anybody is interested in commissioning a similar piece in their size, then it would be about $475. So that's all for the review of this closed front teal underbust made by the Bad Button. I hope you enjoyed the review, and if you did like it, then please remember to click that like button. It helps support the channel. If you have any comments or questions about this particular underbust or my bridal underbust that I had reviewed a couple weeks ago, or the Bad Button in general, please feel free to leave them down below. I'll get back to you as best as I can, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!